Hey, welcome to Keight Crafts. I'm Keight. Today I would like to share with you episode 3 of my Rhino Thanks series. Let's get started. To kick things off, I've gone ahead and cut out the panels that I will be using in this card today. Now bear with me, we have the large stitched rectangle die, the large outside-in stitched rectangle die, then the second largest stitched die, and the second largest outside-in stitched rectangle die. Don't ask me to repeat that. So what we're going to do today is we are going to be doing a little bit of layering. Now this may not be a new thing, but it is a new thing to me. I recently purchased the largest of the stitched rectangle dies, and I was not disappointed. I mean, I don't know. You can never have too many rectangle dies, I guess. But one of the really neat things is that the way that the outside-in stitched rectangle die fits inside the stitched rectangle die almost gives you this double-stitched border, kind of, sort of, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about? There's something almost giddy about that look to me that I was just like, oh my god, I love this. So I ended up making a card doing exactly this. This is a fairly simple card. I mean, you could easily mass produce these with just this pattern alone, and I mean, you don't have to do them straight in the center and all lined up. You could create your panels and just kind of put them on any which angle. But today we're going to be pretty plain and simple. So I've gone ahead and I've used my Easy Tape Runner by Scrapbook Adhesive 3L, and I'm adding a little extra stick with the Barely Art Glue, which I'm really enjoying it. So to all my friends who have recommended it, including Jordy, yep, I'm looking at you, Jordy, I absolutely thrilled about this glue. I don't know what it is. It's just, it's wonderful. The bottle's great, the nozzle's awesome, and I love it. So you can see that double stitch there. Oh, it's so lovely. Next up, we are going to stamp out our sentiment, and I'm using the Thanks from the Scripty Autumn Sentiment stamp set by Fawn, and we are going to grab my little powder bag here and powder it all down. And then next I'm going to grab my Versamark Watermark ink, and we are going to do a little bit of embossing. Now, I am not thrilled about embossing, but sometimes I have to emboss, and I get it. I am always worried about knocking stuff over, or knocking stuff around, and getting stuff everywhere. And then, of course, the sneezing. So we're going to use this Opaque Bright White Superfine. And yes, this was another recommendation from another friend of mine, Jessica, thank you. And I actually like embossing in white now. The white that I'd had before, just, it looked too muddled anytime I did it, and I just did not like it. But this superfine stuff, it's excellent. So I think I want more superfine embossing powders in the future. And now we have the coloring. So I'm using a Light Aqua, an Aquamarine, a Peacock Blue, and a Peach. And you don't have to write this down. I'll have everything in the description box below if you need to refer to it. And I have to forewarn you, I am not the greatest at shading with colored pencil. I used to really like coloring with colored pencil when I was a kid. Well, teenager, I guess you could say. But it's one of those things that I never really totally fully developed as a skill, and it was just more for fun. So it's not the greatest of jobs, but you know, maybe in the future I could do a beginner's guide to how not to color, if you know what I mean. I mean, I probably need to watch some more colored pencil videos and how to do it, but I had this kicking around underneath my desk, and it's in a tin, in a tote, that I usually take for camping with me. I have a bunch of images stamped out in there in various types of paper that I like to color on if it's not raining when I'm camping. And I still have stuff like stamped in the bag from last year, and I have pulled from it, so it's nice to have it on hand. And you know, sometimes I just want to color and I don't want to make a video or a card. It's nice to have. And yeah, I'm not the greatest at coloring, but that's okay, because I'm still learning a lot of things, as I'm sure you are too, and it's okay not to be great. But you know what? If you keep practicing at it, then you get a little better as time goes by, and eventually you'll get the hang of it. Sadly, I need to make more time for this, but because it's so time consuming, and alcohol markers, my favorite choice is the Copics, is just so much easier. Because you don't have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth as much between all of your colors. And I don't know, one day I'll get the blending right with colored pencil, but for now it is what it is. And you know, overall I think it's not too bad, you know, for being an amateur colorista, I guess you could say. If you could say. I don't know what you would call somebody who colored pencils with pencils. Pencil crayons? Colored pencils? I don't know, what do you call them? Colored pencils or pencil crayons? Do you enjoy coloring with colored pencils, pencil crayons? Or pencil crayons, colored pencils? Sorry, I'm getting a little out of hand here. Don't worry, we're going to be wrapping this up shortly. I've gone ahead with my lightest to darkest. I'm not sure if that's the exact procedure that you need to be taking on this, so take my coloring with a grain of salt. If you've got a better way of coloring and shading, you know, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I always like learning how to do some things different. You know, I get so caught up in one way of doing things that I guess I can't see past what I'm used to. And sometimes, you know, a friend will bounce an idea off of me and say, hey, why don't you try it this way? And it's either, you know, like, yeah, okay, or, oh my god, why haven't I done this sooner? So yeah, if you've got any tips for colored pencils, let me know. I've got these three guys right here. One is like a rolled paper, the other one is a pencil crayon, colored pencil, and this one is like an alcohol marker, like a colorless alcohol marker. I forget the name of it, but I had gone to Beatniks around last November, I think, I think it was last November. I'd had a guest design team project to do for Your Next Stamp, and one of them I wanted to use colored pencils, but I didn't know what to use for a blending tool. And you know, I'd gone over there and talked to Katrina, and she suggested trying the three of those out. Now, she's a really good sales lady when it comes to trying stuff out. Yeah, sure, just buy all three of them and see which one you like best. Just kidding. No, that was my own doing, because I didn't know what I was doing, and it's been probably 25 years since I've colored. So now we've got all the coloring done, and we've got our little thanks that was heat embossed, stamped out, and colored, or cut, I should say. And now we're just going to glue everything flat. I mean, you could add foam tape here. You could have added foam tape to any one of these panels, but I want this to be a fairly flat card. I really like, you know, the monochromatic colors to it, I guess, yeah. And I don't know, I'm just really pleased at how this card turned out. It's very simple, but it has a little bit of interest, and those are always nice, right? The clean and simple cards I struggle with, as some of you know, but I don't know, would this be clean and simple, because there's a lot of patterns going on here. So we're just going to add a little bit of the Barely Art Glue to the back of this thanks, and I really appreciate the nozzle on this glue tube. It is so much nicer than the little tiny bottle that I have. I don't have to press as hard to get any of it out. It's just like a little light boop, and it comes out, and it just works every time. So next we are going to take some high supply Crystalline Sky Blue gems, and we are just going to toss those on the card. I got about 9 of them. I couldn't decide how many I wanted, if I wanted 5. If I wanted 7, I went for 9. I mean, you could never have enough gems. I mean, you could, but in this case, we didn't. And here you have my completed card. Thanks from me to you. So what did you think about the colored pencils? Should I try it again in a later video? I'd be curious to see what your input is. So if you've enjoyed today's content or found it helpful, please give this video a like. I also welcome you to subscribe, as I post weekly. Here's another video I think you might enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.